Well, on the eve of the Republican caucuses in Nevada, there were plenty of fireworks tonight between the top three GOP candidates.
And Democrat Bernie Sanders is attacking Hillary Clinton, charging that she talks one game, but yet plays another. KCAL9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with a look at how the candidates are trading even more jabs as they march towards Super Tuesday. Dave?
Well, first we're back to the caucuses again tomorrow in Nevada, and then you've got candidates all over the West today, including Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders says Hillary Clinton is stealing his lines, but at the same time collecting millions from Wall Street wheelers and dealers. And on the last day of the Republican campaign before the Nevada caucuses tomorrow, Senator Ted Cruz had to bounce one of his top campaign officials. For weeks now, Senator Ted Cruz has been under fire from three other candidates who charge he's running a deceitful campaign. And now Cruz has fired Rick Tyler, the man in charge of campaign communications and messaging.
I have made clear in this campaign that we will conduct this campaign with the very highest standards of integrity. That has been how we've conducted it from day one.
Tyler's departure was triggered by this video of Rubio walking by a Cruz campaign worker who was reading the Bible. Rubio telling him all the answers are in there. But Tyler posted a statement on social media that Rubio told the staffer not many answers are in it, which clearly was a dig at Rubio's religious beliefs. The campaign issued an apology, and Cruz dismissed Tyler, claiming he's the one who's running a clean campaign, even though three other candidates say they've been victims of Cruz's dirty tricks.
If other candidates choose to go into the gutter, we will not do the same.
As the stakes are rising, the bitterness among the three leading candidates has been growing. Rubio called the Cruz campaign absolutely deceptive and is now telling his audiences that Cruz and Trump are too divisive to win.
Look, we can't win if we're divided. We can't win if we nominate someone. If we nominate someone that half of the Republican Party hates, we're going to be fighting against each other all the way to November. We will never win that way.
A super PAC supporting Rubio ripped into both Cruz and Trump.
Trump, erratic, unreliable. Cruz, calculated, underhanded.
But Trump may get the last laugh, at least in Nevada, where a new poll on the eve of the Republican caucuses there gave Trump a commanding lead over all the other candidates. Nonetheless, Trump went after Cruz in several tweets, calling him the biggest liar in politics who should be disqualified as the winner of the Iowa caucuses. The Democrats are looking ahead to Super Tuesday, which is a week from Tuesday, and now Senator Bernie Sanders is turning up the heat on Hillary Clinton, who beat him in the Nevada caucuses over the weekend and has a double-digit lead in South Carolina, which holds its primary on Saturday. Sanders told supporters in Massachusetts, one of the Super Tuesday states, that Clinton is now sounding more and more like him every day.
And in fact, is beginning to use a lot of the language and phraseology that we have used. In fact, I think I saw a TV ad. I thought it was me, but it turned out it was Secretary Clinton's picture in the ad.
But despite the rhetoric Sanders charges, Clinton's record tells a different story.
Her major super PAC priorities, USA, raised $25 million during the last reporting period from special interest, including $15 million from Wall Street. Millions of dollars in super PAC money is now being used against me.
Ironically, Clinton made a beeline from Nevada to California for a full day of fundraising, including two events in the Southland, where the last event of the evening was held in Hancock Park, where supporters paid between $2,700 and $27,000 for those who bundled donations to attend, and in some cases take a photo with her. She acknowledged in an interview with CNN over the weekend that many voters still have doubts about her honesty and trustworthiness.
I think there's an underlying question that maybe is really in the back of people's minds, and that is, is she in it for us or is she in it for herself?
But some of her supporters say Super Tuesday may answer any doubts people have about whether she can win the November election, like this from Congresswoman Karen Bass.
Well, Super Tuesday, I think, is going to be a very important day for us. And frankly, I think the South Carolina primary is going to be very important as well. But hopefully Super Tuesday, things will kind of calm down and we'll take the majority of the states and then we'll be wrapping it up.
Now, rocker Neil Young has jumped into the campaign dialogue today as well. He says he's disturbed that Donald Trump is the Republican presidential frontrunner. And he suggests if Trump wins in November, America could have a reality TV White House. Young, who is Canadian, supports Democrat Bernie Sanders.
Well, Dave, you mentioned that Hillary Clinton had some California fundraisers, one of them actually in Studio City earlier today.
That's right, that's
now,
right.
There are reports that the big money in Hollywood and the Silicon Valley are pretty much tapped out.
Yeah.
If that's true, what do you think the impact of that is?
It could have a major impact, but let me tell you what's happening. If it's true, and if we've gotten conflicting answers on that today after the report in the LA Times, but if it's true, it could be a big problem for Clinton's campaign, especially at a time when the cash is rolling into the Sanders campaign at an astonishing rate. The Times reports Clinton began this month with an $18 million advantage, but he's catching up fast. However, remember one thing. Clinton still has the super PAC supporting her, and they've got tons of money to spend, Jeff.